Hello there, today we are reading Males of Reddit. What's your creepy girl story? Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the video. Girl stole my jacket and made a shrine to me with manga-style drawings of her and I making out. She wasn't invited, but tagged along with friends who were, and came to my buddy's house for our friend's birthday party. We all got drunk, hopped and pushed people into the pool. Had a good old time. The next morning, my friend, the birthday boy, was awakened by this chick riding on top of him. She either played with his dong mildly enough to not wake, but just arouse him, or took advantage of his morning wood. But either way, she sleep-raped my friend on his birthday and proceeded to soak the couch in piss. This was one expensive freaking couch, mind you, before leaving without saying a word. A week or so goes by, she is claiming she is pregnant and needs abortion money. Friend reached out to our friend group for advice. Turns out she has been known to rape drunk guys, and in fact it happened to another friend of ours whom she also asked for abortion money. 4 years later she's got 3 DUIs and nobody knows how many guys she has taken advantage of, or scammed out of fake abortion money. Teenage me talking to a girl a year below. We used to play Neopets together and one day she sent me a rose with her blood on it. She came to school the next day with a bandage on her wrist. My first girlfriend had a rough home life, and when I tried to break up with her she said she would kill herself, so I backpedaled. This happened multiple times until one of her friends confided in me that she bragged about it to her, because she hates being single and was trying to date other people until he was replaced before breaking up with him. I dated this girl one summer during high school. She seemed nice enough and we kind of hit it off at a church function, until my summer schedule started. I went from working evening at a local fast food joint to working overnights, and I guess she couldn't cope. She would call my house and accuse my mum of lying for me, and demand she tell her where I really was. She'd drive by all night, and would even wait for me to get home at 6 or 7, still in my work uniform, and accuse me of cheating. Eventually she'd start calling me every hour or so at work, which as you can imagine my managers just loved. She did not take the breakup well, threatening to kill herself. She threatened to kill me, and she threatened to kill my dog. When I started dating a coworker towards the end of the summer she threatened her too. Lied about being married and wore a ring on her ring finger as proof of being married, as a means of showing interest in trying to provoke me to cuckold a man that doesn't exist. She also sent a text to someone else right in front of me where I could easily see and clearly about me. It was about how he can't court a woman in another attempt to provoke me to somehow be interested in her. Never mind the fact that she already made herself out to be a bullshitter and someone to avoid. Blocked her number, because she would text me every day when I refused to reply anymore after telling her I didn't want to talk. 2 years later I unblocked it out of curiosity, and she is today I learn Edel texting me daily. I sure hope I never run into her in person again. Went out once after being matched online. Didn't work out. She kept calling during dates with other guys and asking them to tell me I was an idiot to pass her up. After no calls for a few months, she called crying and asking me to tell her current boyfriend that we didn't have sex. She put him on the phone and he asked me directly. Of course the answer was no, we didn't, but he responded with, "Then why is she always hitting you up?" I just hung up. She called 37 more times, but I didn't answer. So, here is a creepy picked up by a girl story. I was in a bar, having a beer, and this girl starts talking to me. She seems okay, but the bar is dark. Hard to tell. She asks me if I want to go out to her truck and smoke a joint. I say yes. When we wander out of the bar, the bright lights outside illuminate her face in a disturbing way. I ignore what I am seeing. She says, "So where is your car?" I say, "I thought we were going to your truck." She says, "No, we are going to your car." Okay, I can deal with this. We get to my car, and she says, "Where is the joint?" I say, "I thought you had a joint." She says, "No, take me home." Okay, I can deal with this. So, I start driving her home. As I am driving, she starts rambling. "You can frick me. You can screw me. You can do anything you want to me. Okay, maybe I can deal with this." As we approach her apartment she says, "I sure hope my boyfriend isn't home." Oh, frig. Can I deal with this? She points to a convenience store and says, "Pull in there, and go buy me a 12-pack of beer." I say, "I'm not buying you a 12-pack. So, she gets out of the car to buy beer. I definitely cannot deal with this. Slam the car into reverse, and race off into the night. I didn't go back to that bar for a year. Creepy girl. She broke into my dorm room without me knowing and stood over me while I slept. When I woke up, she invited me to a threesome. I noped the frick out of there. Years ago I had a roommate whose fiancé abruptly ended their relationship. The few days after they ended it, she would show up to my work. I worked retail at the time, looking for me. At the time I wasn't sure why she kept trying to talk to me. But I never really liked her, and she really fricked my roommate up by ending the relationship with no explanation. I would constantly hide in the stockroom to avoid her, so she began waiting by my car for my shifts to end. I would usually wait it out until someone working would give me the all clear, but after a few days I lost my patience and just decided to walk to my car. She was there. She confessed her love for me. I said no thanks, got in my car and left. We randomly run into each other around town and always make awkward eye contact before I realize it's her. Oh boy, it all started in elementary school, when this weird girl took a liking to me. She'd follow me around at recess, and if I wanted a recess to myself, I'd have to outrun her and lose her. Kept me in shape. She was a year or two ahead of me, and as soon as she was able, she'd be a teacher's assistant in my class when she could. She'd be watching me from across the room, and would pass notes to me asking if I'd marry her when I grew up. She also came to my mom's house a few times and left notes on the windowsill. Fast forward to high school, where we landed in the same film arts class. I was usually a cameraman, but when I was in the editing room, there she'd be. She had a face like the man in the moon, round, blank, and gave you the sense that you might look out your window one night and see it looking back in at you. She'd be ogling me from across the room, inching her chair closer and closer, and complimenting me on virtually everything. She likes my clothes, jewelry, hair, and eventually, she wants to kiss me and date me. I was an awkward teenager, so I just dropped lots of hints that I wasn't interested, which she either didn't understand or just didn't give a damn. One day, she basically cornered me in a doorway and said she was going to kiss me. I was in such a position that I could only either take the kiss or physically push her away from me. I didn't know how to react at the time, so I pretty much did a combination of both. Another day, I was biking to school, and she was sitting at the base of a telephone pole at the end of my street, looking at me, as if she was expecting me to come that way. I thought it through and realized that she must have followed me home from school, then gotten up at the crack of dawn, come back to my street and waited to see when I'd be leaving. This happened a few times, and I didn't tell anyone, because I thought my family would make fun of me. We've both been out of school for a few years, and she hasn't given up yet. She's found me on Facebook and messaged me a few times, saying she's tired of being single, and would I ever date her. I've rejected her as clearly as I can, and I hope it sticks. She definitely has autism or something, and maybe she just can't let go of that childhood crush, or can't process rejection. I hope she gets the help she needs. What was really infuriating was when I went to my family for advice. They were all like, "Oh, she likes you and you should give her a chance. We need to teach our sons and daughters that stalking people is not okay." Oh, my first blind date, set up by friends. I was 22. I can't remember if I had just graduated or was about to, so either late 21 or just turned 22. I pick her up, because she doesn't drive. Find out she's a sophomore in college. My alma mater, cool. I was surprised I'd never seen her before, because it wasn't a large uni and she was cute to hell. Fast forward maybe 2 or 3 hours, we just wrapped up dinner and a stroll in a park downtown. Everything went well and we're walking to a comedy club. She is saying things really weird now, like how happy she is that she met someone like me, about the places she wants to honeymoon at, how many kids we'd have and how beautiful they'd be if we were married. Now, she was a looker, and really fun to hang out with, but who talks about these kinds of things after knowing a person for several hours? Red flags. Cut later into the evening and we're walking to the house I shared with a few roommates. Our place was maybe a block from the comedy club. College neighborhood. She stops me and we make out for a bit. She is for real acting and talking like we have been long-time lovers now. I make the decision to suggest I take her home. It's getting late, but she insists on coming home with me. I pocket dial my friend. Oh, I'm getting a call. I play it like he needs me for something. He's all high giggling and saying stupid shit as he realizes what must be happening. Now it turned for the worse in a big way. She gets angry, accusing me of being gay and how she never should have come on this date, etc. So, she storms off. Phew, 15 minutes later I am in my house laughing and chatting with my roommates about my date and the back door opens. Guess who walks in? I knew it. She screams. Cue me trying to calm down this crazy girl while my friends are laughing and taking pictures. Eventually her friend comes and gets her. Alicia, if you're out there, I hope you found love. She cheated on me with my friend when we were around 13. When I found out, she proceeded to lock herself into a bathroom at her Girl Scouts meeting and carve my name into her arm with a knife. Dated a Pisho who wanted to be with me 24/7. She started doing everything I did. Dip, smoke, drink, soccer, watch hockey. One day when I meet her at her dorms, her wrists were wrapped in bandages. She had third-degree burns where she held salt and ice against her wrist. When I tried to end it, she said she was pregnant because she was bulimic and would shit birth control right out. Then when I finally ended it, she showed up at my parents drunk and started to cut her wrist with her car keys in the driveway. I should have known she was crazy. She was way more attractive than the girls I normally pull. New Year's a few years ago, at like 4 AM a girl called me asking to pick her up. Because she didn't like who she was with, as in she felt uncomfortable with them. So obviously I walked down to where she was, only a 10-minute walk. I was a little tipsy and she was crazy drunk. I was trying to walk her home and she insisted on sitting down. And the nearest place was where I was staying, at a friend's. So we get back and sit on the couch and she immediately starts cuddling me and kissing me, and I try and push her off me. But she's having none of it. Hastily undoes my belt. At this point she has most her weight on me. Then tries to grab my dong and I push we hand away. She then whispers, "Come on, you know you want me to," and goes for it again. I immediately just shout stop. I say shout. But it wasn't really a yell and more just a bit louder. She then proceeds to cry saying I don't find her attractive and gets really emotional saying do I think she's fat etc. I ask if she wants some water, and I go get her some. When I come back she grabbed a razor blade out of her purse and has cut her palm open. And she's shaking. I get a bandage-like thing from the kitchen. And we called a taxi to get her to A&E. I paid for the taxi, and haven't spoken to her since. Needless to say, it took me a while to get comfortable being alone with drunk people. For a while it shook me up more than I'd like. Met a girl on Tinder. I invited her over to my place for a good old trip to Bone City. When she showed up, she began inserting meows into every other sentence. Not replacing words with meow, but just meowing randomly in the beginning, middle, or end of sentences. I asked her what she was doing and she claimed it's just a thing she does unconsciously, right? Anyway, so, she keeps meowing and saying just random shit, mixed in some "let me know if you can't handle me." Most guys can't. It was only about 15 minutes in, and I just needed to get away, so I mentioned having to take my dog out. "Oh, I'll come with you." Damn it. No sooner than we open the door to let my pup out does she rock me with this horrifyingly awkward question. "So my feet smell pretty bad? What is something you're insecure about?" I'm dumbstruck. I started stuttering half sentences. "What the foo, why would just wow." She comes back with, "Well, don't make me feel bad," and again I'm just in complete bewilderment of how to respond to this person. I didn't volunteer that information. You did. I absolutely don't want to have this conversation with you. Finally she says rather proudly, "I knew you couldn't handle me." And I immediately replied, "You're right. You need to leave." She actually stopped, looked at me with tears in her eyes. I was joking. And I looked at her and said, "I am not. You should go." Well, she meows sadly, then tells me she left her purse inside. Awkward elevator ride up to my place and I unlock the door and hand her her purse. She kinda hesitates in the doorway and yells, "You need to meow, give me another chance." And since I had an entire elevator ride to prepare for whatever she was going to say before she left, because come on, of course she'd try something, I replied with, "You need to leave right meow," closed the door in her face and called building security. I guess it wasn't needed, but after the last 20 minutes, I wasn't leaving anything up to chance. Please subscribe if you like the video. It really helps the channel to grow. Adios.